newest Spotlight family member, Miss Dameka
Put your hands together. Give it up, give it up, give it up.
Hey.
Man, ain't she
for
dope?
having me.
What's up, miss?
Thank you.
How y'all doing?
Thank you for being a
Hi.
part of Spotlight family, first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your amazing wine brand, secondly. And let's talk about it a little bit. So how does this thing all come about?
Well,
The short version.
Or which one is first though? Because you got two
Okay.
brands, you
Yes.
know, and I want to talk about them both, and I want to know. I want you to share if they intertwine and where your vision came from for both of these lanes that you're in.
so Sarea Flow Productions came first. It's always been a passion of mine. I went to school for mass communications, and around the short end of the story, around 2016, I was working full time, but it was not panning out for me well. So I took FMLA, and on FMLA, I started applying for jobs in entertainment industry. I had already been doing some things here and there, but not full time. So what wound up happening was on my FMLA time off, I got my first job with Family Feud.
Wow.
And I was like, is this a scam? Like, how I get my first email from Family Feud? And from there, I was like, I ain't going back to that 9 to 5. I don't know. I was getting, still getting paid from FMLA, but I just let it run out. My doctor kept writing me notes, and I was submitting it via email to my employer, and it just kind of panned out for me that way. And as I continue to take production jobs, I was noticing the disparity of Black women on set, and sometimes the only woman on set. So I was like, I want to do something for my women. I want to do something for my culture. And I kind of already had Sarea Flow, the name, as a pseudonym for myself because I knew I was going to always work in production. I was like, I'm not going to go by Dameka. I'm going to go by Sarea Flow. Sarea Flow means beautiful woman who wants to flourish.
Oh,
So
That's dope.
I
Y'all give it up for that.
that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's pretty dope.
So I wanted that for other women in production to be able to work whatever capacity, whether it was a director, a writer, a producer, a gaffer, whatever position they wanted to work in. So that's how I went full time in doing the company Sarea Flow Productions. Now the wine came in the pandemic, so it was something that I was already connected to the spirits industry just by being a brand ambassador, and I wanted to do more. One of my girlfriends went over to Italy, and she lived there in the midst of the pandemic for a little bit. So she was telling me about it. She was like, "You need to really get into this," and I was like, "Okay, give me the information." And she never got back to me. So I mean,
But she sparked your interest.
She definitely did. She
Yeah.
definitely did. She's also an entrepreneur. My girlfriend. She lives in Atlanta right now, but. So I did my due diligence and did some research, did some studying, and, had to do all the necessary steps to get to a brand, a portfolio, the vineyards, and all of those things. And it took about 2 years to get the products over. So
Wow.
that's
But
how
you
it all
kept
came
going.
about. Yeah, I did. I
kept
mean,
pushing.
being a business owner in general, it takes time to do things. So,
Mm-hmm.
you take it in stride, and we're here.
And so now you're here.
Yeah.
And so
Sarea Flow.
so let's give it up for that right there. So I know y'all eating, but let's give it up. Let's clap your hands for that because
Sarea Flow.
I think that we should always give us flowers while we're here. It takes a lot to do business as a Black person in general because it's hard to get the support that we need, and it's hard to get the, I know that to be facts because I've been self-employed since I was 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so I know that it's not easy, but you keep going in spite of it all. You keep pushing in spite of it all. And sometimes we're actually the last to get on board, right, for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
But you do it anyway. And so what is your why? Like, what is that why for you?
Oh, that is a great question. So I graduated college in 2008 from Winston-Salem State University.
Shout out Winston-Salem
Yeah,
State
shout out
University.
Rams, go Rams. So I graduated in December of 2008. And then, in January was the inauguration for President Barack Obama. And I was sleeping through all the activities. I'm like, I don't be sleeping like this. Like, what's going on? So I'm always doing my research. So I researched again, and all the symptoms of pregnancy rang true. So I found that I was with child, and my son, my year, has been my why since 2009. So
Wow.
I talk to him about it all the time. He's 14 now. He'll be
Wow.
15 in August. And I talk to him about it all the time, even him having his own inspiration of being an entrepreneur or wanting to do those things. So he's definitely has his own aspirations as well. Once he graduates high school, to be an investor in real estate and to do some things in tech. So
he's already headed that way at 15.
at
I
15.
love it.
True to mommy.
Yep, and
Mommy-
he has a great
mommy
father as
instilling.
well. So
And shout out to
you
dad
know,
as well. That's a
shout
good
out
thing.
to
I'm glad you
dad.
said that.
Mhm, yeah, it's not just me. I'm very family oriented, and I make sure that we are definitely on the same team, co-parenting. So
That's dope.
But my why is definitely my child, my son.
So tell me before we get going any further, what does his name mean? Because I know it means something.
You know it means
Of
something.
course it does.
You
I know who you are, so it means something. So what does it mean?
My year means to enlighten.
Wow. I
Pretty
love
dope.
it.
So I knew that it
Yeah.
had to have a definite meaning because it's not a true everyday name,
Right.
run-of-the-mill name. And then I see your character, so I say, yeah, it
Oh,
has to
thank
mean
you.
something. So I love the fact that you are who you are and you're doing what you're doing. So how does it come to play as a female in the industry? Is it harder being a woman trying to break into the industry, or is it just kind of routine? It's just normal.
I feel like it's hard.
It's harder
For both.
Is
for
it?
both of my companies. I mean, especially with, my first experience, of course, is with my production company. So I've noticed things like people would think that I'm the stylist, you know, or I'm a makeup artist, not the person that's, kind of
Actually
running the
running the
show,
production, yeah,
producing,
yeah,
or
yeah.
things like that. But, I definitely pay my dues because actually, in 2016, when I said that I left my full-time employer to do production full-time, I was 30 years old, y'all. And
Wow.
I started at the bottom. I was a production assistant at 30.
Wow.
So I paid my dues. I was learning from the production companies. They were coming over from LA and New York. And I wasn't sucking up, but I was making sure that I put myself in a position to learn and get paid to learn.
That's right.
And it helped me so much because those executives revered my work ethic and they, acknowledged where I was. And, sometimes it came with some prejudice. Sometimes it came with some racism.
Of course, of course.
But it helped me to see that my skin, because I'm a very sensitive person at times. But,
Okay.
you can't be sensitive in work.
No, you gotta have
It's about
tough skin.
business.
You gotta have
so,
tough skin,
yeah.
But
yeah.
it toughened my skin even more. Like, you can't have, thin skin and living in D.C., right?
No, that's a fact.
Being from
Just
D.C.,
in
you
general,
can't even
yeah.
have that type of skin.
No.
But I mean, at my core, I'm not a mean person,
Right.
So, or a rude person. So, just seeing those things helped me to realize, like, okay, maybe you have to go a little harder for yourself in these spaces so that you are well respected and well revered. So,
Right. And so
I
you
love
seem
it.
to have done an amazing job.
Thank you.
And so you've kind of navigated through the pitfalls and this and that. And I see now where it has landed you.
Yes.
And so in both companies, that's a great thing. So I'll give it up to you for the perseverance and all the hard work that you're putting in.
Thank you.
So do you have any, before we close, I got my last close.
Yeah, closing remarks. This is just, I want you to take an opportunity to let our viewers and listeners know, we have a lot of people watching and checking you out tonight. So what would you want them to walk away with knowing about you and your brand and what's next for you?
This is an amazing question. I love that. What I would want people to know about me personally is I'm a very open person in terms of like connecting for business and being able to exchange information, be a resource. And in terms of my businesses, so with Sarea Flow Productions, I'm working on a couple of productions now. For any college students who are interested in screenwriting, we have a mentorship program catered to writing for 12 months. So we actually are going to have a webinar information session on May 29th at 7 p.m. So if you go to my website, SareaFlow.com, you can register for that. Also, for any women who are interested in screenwriting, we also have a writers group for women, a writers room, where we're writing for network television and production, which I already said we have a couple of productions that came out of that writers group that we are forging to produce. And then
That's
for
dope.
Whispering Grapes, we have, today I had bought our rosé, which is a spring a spring drink. And I have some for the audience. So if you all want to taste it, I'll pop the bottle and you can indulge. But go to whisperinggrapes.com to see all of the products that I have in my portfolio. I have Grappoli and Sarea Divino, which are vintage and non-vintage. Grappoli is the non-vintage, which is more of like a table wine, so you can sit down and drink it while you're watching TV. But Sarea Divino is more of a pairing wine where you can have it with dessert, dinner, or fruits. And yeah, so
I gotta learn more about stuff like that.
So I'm learning as you speak, because I'm like, okay, because I'm not a wine drinker per
Yeah.
se. So I'm listening. I'm like, wow, you're educating us right here.
Yeah, so
you're
I hope you
educating.
want to taste. I know you're drinking your own drink, but
Yeah,
I
but
have
I'll taste your drink as well.
I'll have some for you all to take later.
All
I
right, so last
appreciate
question
that.
before you
I
go.
do.
I like to ask my guests this. So you have 1 hour. You just signed a big old check, and you just got your launched the wine, new wine, or whatever the case is. And you can listen to one artist or group. And you have a 1 hour ride. Who are you listening to? You can't take them out once you put them in.
Oh,
It's a
man.
group or artist. Who you
group
listening
or
to?
artist.
It could be either or. Either.
For an hour.
1 hour. Once you put
This
them
is
in,
so
you
hard
can't take
because
them
I
out.
really love music, and I be
Pick
having
one.
a playlist.
It gotta be
okay?
one
You in a great
artist.
mood. Pick
Great
one.
mood. I mean, you
For
feeling
1 hour.
wonderful. 1 hour ride.
Okay.
Who you listen to?
Okay. Well. Okay. So to get me up, if I'm going on a road trip, to get me up the road,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Shy Glizzy.
Okay.
Okay.
And I only say that because
That
it's like,
surprised me.
I know it's
You
surprising
surprised
because
me.
really my choice is to keep my spirit together is gospel music. But if I'm going down the road and I need to be pumped up,
Shy
I gotta
Glizzy.
listen to
Shy
Glizzy.
Shy
Yes.
Glizzy.
Shout out
it
Shy
is.
Glizzy, the
Okay.
DC homie. Yeah, so
Exactly.
that surprised me, but then not so much because you from here. You from-
Yeah.
so yeah, Shy Glizzy it is. So okay, that 1 hour ride, you feeling good? You gonna pumped up and Shy Glizzy.
Like
Yeah.
it, Shy Glizzy.
I'm feeling that.
Well, why don't you
Alright.
tell people how they can follow you and give out all your information because we got to wrap it up because we got our next guest.
All right. Well, thanks so much again for having me. You can follow me at Sarea Flow,
Yes.
or Sarea Flow Productions, or Whisper the Grapes.
Whisper the Grapes.
Whisper
I
the
like that.
Grapes. That's
Whisper the
cool.
Grapes.
How'd you come up with that name, by the way?
It's a long story.
Okay, so we'll get you back on that. We'll double back on you.
All right. Well, thanks
Y'all
so
give it
much.
up one time for our
Put
new
them hands together.
Spotlight family member, Dameka
Hey,
Mack. Yes,
we
Black Girl
appreciate
Magic.
you much. Yeah,
I love
y'all,
it.
y'all doing it. Black girls do rock. And DMV, shout out to the whole DMV too. We got some bad sisters and brothers in this city,
We
man,
do.
that's doing some big things, man. So we appreciate you
We
much.
do. It's all about wine tonight, though. So our
I
next
know,
guest
I
has been
know.
waiting patiently, and we have got another amazing young lady coming up next, right after this commercial break, Miss Shayna Taylor.
Yeah, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Spotlight over the city.